Good evening. This is the caucus meeting for January 24, 2024. Presiding officer of the council, Milady Tejeda, wishes to advise the audience that notice of this meeting has been filed with the Home News Tribune, the Star Ledger, and posted on the bulletin board in the city clerk's office and on the city's website, indicating that today's meeting is being held in the council chambers, City Hall, 260 High Street at 5:30 p.m. Right now it's 5:35. The council meeting will follow the caucus and the closed session. Council President Tejeda, as a courtesy of the governing body, I will ask all individuals present, including members of the audience, to please turn off all cell phones and electronic devices. Should you need to make a telephone call, please go out in the hallway and speak in a little voice so as not to disturb the ongoing meeting. Roll call, please.
Councilwoman Cruz?
Present.
Councilwoman Morales?
Present.
Councilman Puccio? Present. Councilman Torres?
Present.
Council President Tejeda?
Present. Okay, it's not on the agenda, but we're adding a presentation by Gail Lala, Grants Manager, of T&M Associates. It's about community energy plan for the city of Perth Amboy.
Good evening, members of the City Council and members of the public. My name is Gail Lala. I am a business development representative and grants manager for T&M Associates. We are a consulting engineer with the city. Tonight, we are presenting an exciting opportunity that the city embarked on about a year and a half ago with the support of the Green Team. And there are members here tonight, the Green Team, I see Joe Rosa and other members that put this initiative together. So without further ado, I will fast track the summary of what this initiative entails. So the community energy program we're going to go over were resources that were provided by a technical assistance partner, Sustainable Jersey, which is a nonprofit affiliated with the College of New Jersey. This was funded by the New Jersey Board of Public Utilities. It included a stakeholder engagement plan, a collection of community energy data for the city of Perth Amboy, which we'll show tonight, and various energy actions for consideration for potential implementation. This was the process. We had a team building exercise. Some of this process predates myself as a consultant with the city, as it was started in around 2022. So the community energy data and the work plan template was initiated by the technical partner Sustainable Jersey. They held an initial stakeholder engagement meeting. I facilitated a follow-on public meeting that garnered input from various department heads and members of the Green Team most recently. And we're here. Today, we're talking about the final community energy plan that hopefully the city will consider adopting, which should hopefully be a living document that summarizes all of the specific sustainability actions that the city can take advantage of, as well as the grant opportunities that will help support those measures. So this is just some background on Sustainable Jersey. Right now, the City of Perth Amboy's Green Team is rated bronze, which is excellent. And there are a number of actions that they've continued to be a champion in the state, so kudos to them. We started with a work plan, and it is a really great document for specifically calling out which department or which representative would lead each energy action. So there are energy actions for transportation, renewable energy, energy efficiency, the energy usage from the building sector, which could be private, community energy planning outreach to low and moderate income residents, and lastly, my favorite, expanding the clean energy innovation economy by developing a local microgrid. So for the contents, we had a checklist of each initiative, starting out with transportation. And this is an example, electing a representative from the Green Team as the lead. It would have implementation timeframe, how many months would it take, how many departments have already been involved with looking at the due diligence, the steps that it would take. We talked about the barriers to implementation and then the next steps. So the model community energy plan, which you should have copies on, is around a 48-page document which details each action item, and it calls out how what are the specific challenges and opportunities, kind of like a SWOT analysis, the strengths and weaknesses of each opportunity. There's a lot of really exciting movement around the transportation action item, which is the first chapter, where you can adopt supportive zoning. That's underway, training first responders in electric vehicle infrastructure, improving your fleet inventory. It's fantastic that the city already has a fleet inventory, so that data is already covered in this report. So these are the implementation details. This was the stakeholder engagement plan. We met on December 11th with the green team to finalize their input for these 6 strategies. And just to back up, these strategies come from the state's energy master plan, which was revised in 2019. And they are basically to look at how we, as a state, can adopt measures, whether it be clean energy, energy efficiency, lowering the cost of your utility bill. How many here has seen a utility bill and said, wow, that's a lot, how can I reduce it? So these are measures that look at all of those strategies to make a holistic plan for all communities in the state. So just, this is really interesting data that was collected. Energy usage, the highest electricity usage is in the commercial sector, no surprise. And then on the natural gas, it's in the industrial sector. In transportation, these are the methods the ways that city residents use transportation. 82% showing cars, trucks, or personal vehicles, and then 6% on the public transportation side. So the report details things that are underway that can help support the transportation mobility side and reduce carbon emissions and sustainability for transportation, of how we get to work and places of interest. Greenhouse gas emissions, the largest namely being from industrial once again. So this report talks about how do we incentivize the industrial commercial community to participate in programs that help out with clean energy adoption. And what's also exciting is the city of Perth Amboy was the first community to have an installed community solar at a private site. So that's been exciting to see that you are a leader in the community solar space and in clean energy. Residential energy data here. This was a requirement of the report to show the number of households. And Perth Amboy is an environmental justice community and overburdened municipality, which means that there's a large opportunity to take advantage of grant opportunities because of the health stressors that the city has had in regards to wanting to implement more sustainability and keeping up with the demands of the industrial commercial sector. Municipal facilities, there's a lot of opportunity that we've already met with the departments of enhancing energy efficiency and low-hanging fruit. We've also talked about initiatives that have already been underway. You've already participated in the BPU's program for a local government energy audit, so we already have that preliminary information. We conducted a carbon footprint analysis to look at what your current carbon footprint is with the municipality. And we used 2022 as a baseline year because 2020, we were home, we were remote. 2021 wasn't really a good metric either. So 2022, we were back in action. And then lastly, I want to leave it if there are any questions or comments. Our consulting group in Sustainable Jersey, through this exercise, are delivering the final community energy plan report and hopefully the adopted resolution by this Friday to the BPU to adhere to their grant guidelines. And I'm going to talk about one next step. Actually, I'm going to fast forward to one slide, and then I'm going to go back. So there's a really great opportunity to take advantage of another grant that's only for communities that have completed their community energy plan, and that's for implementation. So CEPI, the Community Energy Plan Implementation Program. The city of Perth Amboy is eligible for $250,000 for one or multiple projects. The more projects you propose that are already spelled out in the report, the more incentives and money that you can be awarded. So that application process is due February 23rd, I think. So this is why this is really timely to have this conversation and make sure that the report is in alignment with the city and residential and green team priorities. Oh, right, February 23rd. That is for implementation. So for instance, things that are costly, having make ready, which are the conduit, the electrical upgrades for electric vehicle infrastructure could be a thought that could pay for those upgrades that are necessary to adopt more electric vehicles. Currently within the fleet, there are no electric vehicles, but there are low-hanging fruit items that we saw that could be useful for code enforcement, for police, fire, et cetera. All right, so I'm gonna go back to this. These are just some guidance questions. So we're gonna summarize the goals of the implementation for the short and long-term strategies. The impacts, what are the verifiable impacts? Obviously, they're monetary savings and actual energy savings by adopting these measures, and also jobs creation. So there are significant opportunities tied to that for local workforce development. And the funding in other parts of the state have been used for energy code adoption, improving legislation, and revising local master plans. And lastly, signing policies that promote the use of alternative vehicles or fuels and infrastructure. So I will stop there. If anyone has any questions, my background is I previously worked in energy consulting, so this is definitely a favorite area of mine within the space. So there's a lot of low-hanging fruit things that can be done. Especially, just wanted to talk about the last item, the developing a local microgrid. You already have a great location that is a shelter in place, the high school. So it's nice that the city already has practical areas that are underway for these items. So I'll just stop there and open up for any questions or comments.
Well, I want to thank you for coming with that presentation. And it's something that definitely Perth Amboy can take advantage of it. And so if the resolution passes, then that will give you the opportunity to apply for those grants. Is that how
That's
I
correct.
understood?
Yes.
Okay.
It'll comply with the current $25,000 grant, which the Green Team had applied for and worked on, and then it'll avail itself for the $250,000 of additional monies that the BPU is looking to give to communities by the summer of '24. So the application process is currently underway.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Ordinance, public hearing, 5 minutes maximum per speaker per ordinance. An ordinance to amend an ordinance entitled, an ordinance designating restricted parking space for use by handicapped persons, ordinance number 380-85 and amendments, adopted July 2nd, 1985, also known as Chapter 255A of the Code of the City of Perth Amboy, and this is about deletion. Number 2, an ordinance to amend and supplement Chapter 199, Dogs of the Code of the City of Perth Amboy to include additional regulations related to public parks. Number 3, an ordinance of the City of Perth Amboy, County of Middlesex, New Jersey to amend and supplement Chapter 4, Administration of Government of the Code of the City of Perth Amboy to include additional regulation to safeguard public property and public records. Number 4, an ordinance to amend and reinstate an ordinance creating a special improvement district within the City of Perth Amboy and designating a district management corporation, ordinance number 776-95A, amended. adopted July 17, 1995, also known as the Chapter 381C of the Code of the City of Perth Amboy. Agenda, public comment. Citizen may address the council on any matter on the agenda which does not have its own scheduled public hearing. Citizens shall be permitted to speak once for a maximum of 5 minutes. Reports. Fallon Barczewski, tax collector, submitted the monthly report of collections of the month of December 2023. Number 2, Jill A. Goldie, CFO Controller, submitted the following: check register report for the month of December 2023 in the total amount of $11,438,078.51. 2023 annual debt statement. Ordinance, first reading, no public discussion. An ordinance to amend an ordinance entitled, an ordinance designating restricted parking spaces for use by handicapped persons, ordinance number 380-85, an amendment adopted July 2nd, 1985, also known as Chapter 255A, C of the Code of the City of Perth Amboy, and this is about deletions. Number 2, an ordinance to amend an ordinance entitled Administration of Government, ordinance number 1-72, an amendment adopted July 28, 1972, also known as Chapter 4C of the Code of the City of Perth Amboy, and this is about the Harborside Marina Utility improper docking. Number 3, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Perth Amboy, County of Middlesex, New Jersey, authorizing the acquisition of the property designated on the tax maps of the City of Perth Amboy as Block 127, lots 16, 17, and 18, commonly known as 333-341 High Street, for public purposes pursuant to NJSA 48, column 12-5, and NJSA 20, column 3-1.
Madam President,
Yes.
I have a couple questions.
Okay, go ahead.
First, how much is this going to cost us?
I can speak to that. We have an appraisal for the property value. It is, the estimate is $1,150,000.
$1 million, okay. We're getting this $1 million from? Anybody can tell me where we're getting the $1 million from? All right,
I can address it to some extent. First, I'll note that there was an ordinance that was adopted in the fall that included one of these properties. So the decision that's in front of you is whether to include 2 additional lots. So I think previously,
but we haven't spent any money yet.
we haven't, correct. So the way this process would play out is if the council authorized the acquisition, the city would at that time be allowed to begin negotiations.
All right, but I still ask, where's the money coming from? All right, let me, this part 2. Why are we buying this anyway? I mean, I know the reason that was stated, so why are we building a firehouse on that corner? No, here, let me, I don't want to get everybody confused. I'll just get right to the point. 150 feet to 200 feet away, the City of Perth Amboy owns the old firehouse, the lot next to the old firehouse, the first aid squad, not Louis DeLump's house in the middle, the old court building, police station, and the police station annex. So we're going to spend money to build a firehouse across the street from property we already own.
Whether we own it.
Tell me how that makes sense. I want somebody to explain that to me, to where, why aren't we knocking the buildings down across the street and building the firehouse across the street?
Is that the part that's not currently under contract?
It's
With who?
Kirshner Companies.
Oh, Jesus. How long has that been going on? Well, so now
Before I-
first of all, we're not cash rich here in Perth Amboy. You know what I mean? We probably live from paycheck to paycheck with our budget. So we're gonna take out what, Director Vasquez, would you like to weigh in on this?
Council members, the property in question, the old public safety building, is part of a redevelopment agreement that was approved by Para. It's been tied up in that negotiation for over a decade. And I believe it's $4 million that have been in the city rolls for that long. So that development is now approved. So we need a new location. That was never the location or anticipated location for a firehouse. And if you think of how dense the area is on this side of town and getting the fire department over to this side of town, it's an ideal location for a substation on this side of town. And I wish Chief Mullen was here because he can speak to the timing of getting an apparatus to this side of town to save lives. So again, it's an ideal location. It's underutilized, and the original monies or the original property is part of a redevelopment agreement. And I know that I heard, hoofs and puffs and laughs when you mentioned Kushner, but the undeveloped property has been sitting vacant for over 2 decades, and we're finally at a place where we can have development that will serve our residents that has been sitting there for way too long because of different reasons that I won't get into this evening. But we finally have an agreement in place and ready to roll out that's going to bring new homes to our residents, ratables to our city, and additional public amenities.
All right, so I still didn't hear where the $1 million was coming from.
So there's different ways to get there. At this point, you don't need to identify the funding source. You just need to get a green light to begin negotiations and the court process for filing for eminent domain.
Well, here's another question that I'm gonna ask. Why can't the developer build the firehouse?
There's still time for negotiations in other stages of this game.
I'm
It's not a
just-
done deal.
You know what? And unfortunately, when you're 68 years old and you've been around a long time, and all you young people look at us like, why don't you shut your mouth already, right? The problem is, it's taxpayer money we're talking about. And we're talking about a developer that allegedly, there's something on the table, maybe, we don't know, we haven't seen it, right? And here's another case of, we're gonna do something, and developers have promised the world in this town for the last 25 to 30 years, and nothing ever gets done. If Kushner wanted to do whatever he needed to do, why couldn't he build us a firehouse?
So those,
Or when Halprin said they were gonna do whatever they were gonna do in Harbortown, which they never did.
and I'm sure the attorney could address that in closed session because some of the items are in negotiation and legal matters.
I can answer almost all these questions in closed session. I'm refraining from doing it now because of the contract.
All I'm trying to say, Mr. Opal and Director Vasquez, is we're always hearing about all these great things. I've been around long enough, and I'm looking at people that are in the audience that have been around long enough, and they know what I'm saying. All I'm trying to say is, when they built the firehouse in the central location 20 years ago, the reason for that is because it was in a central location. And I'm sure that the response times from that location are basically the same as they were 15, 20 years ago. They're centrally located. Now, if they want to build another firehouse, and Chief Mullen, eventually he likes to come, and he's going to explain it to me. But at the end of the day, that means we're going to add another apparatus, we're going to add more manpower, and at the rate we're going, how is our budget going to be able to expand without hitting the taxpayers?
So if I may, to address two concerns. One with what developers promise and what they deliver. I want to give one prime example of something that you can currently see happening. Port 2, or what we call Port 2, the bridge project on Outer High Street. One of the deliverables was to connect one part of our city to the other. So Harbortown, when you get to the end of Harbortown, there was no sidewalks. If you drive by there now, you'll see that there's a sidewalk from Harbortown all the way to outer High Street, not just outer State Street, outer High Street. And that was a developer who did that. That same project, we got $3 million, or we are anticipated to get $300 million to our housing trust fund. That same project delivered, or is delivering money for a fire truck apparatus. That same project is delivering funds for open space. And this is not just a promise, it is in action and it is visible.
Director Vasquez, the fire truck in question is replacing a fire truck that exists. It's not an add-on.
Except that they're buying it, they're paying for it. It's not
Right.
coming out of the city budget.
But
So
what
I'm just giving
saying
you
is, though,
examples of
if-
things that
If you're
happen.
building another firehouse, you have to man it and you gotta put apparatus.
And you all just approved, that's my second point, you all just approved this past year a grant for 16 additional firefighters. So things are happening.
Okay, and a grant, with all due respect,
Yes.
Director Vasquez, a grant is only good for a certain amount of time. And according to the way the grant is written, at the end of those 3 years, those firefighters have to be absorbed into the budget.
Yes,
So that
and
means
some
3
will be
years-
retiring.
So
we did the math.
In all due respect, we have a young fire department, just like we have a young police department, okay? There's not gonna be a mass retirement in 3 years of 15 to 20 guys. So at the end of 3 years, those 16 firefighters have to be absorbed into the budget. Just like with the police department. Eventually, the new cops that are coming in, they're gonna have to be absorbed into the budget.
And you know, with all due respect, you know that when top-level retirees leave, they cover the expense of 2 or 3 even new, incoming members. So again, when we presented the grant, the numbers spoke for themselves. And I'm not trying to rebuttal you. All due respect, I just want to say that when there is a redevelopment opportunity in front of us, or a grant opportunity in front of us that is going to serve the public and is going to offset our costs, we're going to go after it with your support, of course. Thank you.
So we heard a little bit about Port 2 and all the benefits that we're going to receive, but it's to the detriment of the health of our public. There was an article that came out today in the Gothamist about how the rise of warehouses, specifically in communities like Perth, Amboy, communities of color, the rise of the warehouses is really negatively impacting the health by impacting by putting overburden our community with emissions, and like they were talking about in the past report from Sustainable Jersey about how emissions, the highest come from, a lot of it is from this type of industries. Seems like a lot of things are being done in secrecy. We're finding out now that Kushner's are working on that property. For years, we were trying to get the city to move on that property, to develop it, since it was sitting there vacant for years. We're requiring property directly across the street from it for $1 million to build a firehouse. We could have built a firehouse on the property that we already own, since the prior developer refused to move on it for several decades. We asked couple of times, Mr. Puccio asked, Councilman Puccio asked, where was the money coming from? We haven't received an answer. And this is for an infrastructure project. We received $16 million from the federal government, specifically for infrastructure projects. But at the end, we were giving it away like drunken sailors, just giving it away nilly-dilly. And what do we receive from this? We could have put $1 million aside for this project. We knew we wanted to work on this project. We knew this was in the pipeline, but yet there's still no answer. I would like to know, how are we going to pay for this?
I'll review and make sure that you have the response for the next meeting, the allocation for the $1 million. And it may be more or less at the final, exactly what the allocation would be. So you'll have
Think, yes, so next time we should be a little more prepared this way, because with this line items, we're gonna have questions. And if we would have had the presentation that I asked for from Para, then a lot of these probably would have been addressed and answered. Maybe you would have had that ample time to come up with some of the answers, but it seems like a lot of things are being done in secrecy, and now we're starting to see some of the things coming to light.
This is a multiple-step process as well. I mean, this ordinance authorizes the acquisition and in the beginning of negotiations, you know, any appropriation would have to come before the council, any contract, and we'd be required to have funding in place if we were going to enter into a contract. So, you know, before those steps can happen, this simply authorizes, you know, follows the statutory process for us to start the process of negotiating.
You know, I forgot one thing. I was so concerned about the $1 million. So this property includes the parking lot, the old school building. What else?
That's it. It's a parking lot and.
And that's gonna be big enough for a firehouse.
Yes.
It's a substation.
Fire trucks are big. Okay. I'm just, you know, to me, I mean, I would think if we were gonna spend $1 million, if we spend $1 million, and we have to build something there, and that's gonna cost maybe $1 million, right? And then we're gonna put stuff in it that you would, if you're building a substation, you at least are gonna have to have it big enough, just in case, you know, and I'm sure if Chief Mullen was here, he would agree that if you're gonna build a substation, you're gonna put an engine and a ladder company in there. So, and the ladder trucks are at least big. I don't know how many feet. I mean, Chief Catano, would you know how long a ladder truck is off the top of your head?
Depending which one model, it's maybe 60 feet long.
Okay, thanks, Chief. So, you know, to me, I'm looking at that property. As a matter of fact, I walked the property the other day when I walked downtown, and I'm saying, how are they gonna fit a firehouse in here? They're gonna build a building, where they're gonna park the cars for the people that work in the firehouse, and then they're gonna at least, it's gonna be at least 2 bays, it's gotta be at least 2 bays. So, you know, I'm not trying to be a hard guy, but walk next to a fire truck one day and see how big they are. They're big. You know, this isn't the city of New York where you know, they pigeonhole the fire trucks in those old firehouses, you know, and it's, you know, more sentimental value that they keep the firehouses in New York. But if they're gonna build something, what are we gonna build? The bargain basement brand? If we're gonna spend the money, we might as well do something top of the line. Look, we already outgrew the police station and the courthouse building. So I just, you know what, I don't know what I'm talking about, so I'll just be quiet.
I understand we're gonna need a substation, especially since some of the talk that's going on. But I would like to know is how many units are being proposed, so this way we know how important this is. I know there's some development going down the pipeline, and if we knew how much our population was going to increase, then we would know how important it is and where the location would be, once we know where that population is going to be. But since we're in the dark with some of this, it's kind of hard for us to make decisions.
I think Mr. Opal said that in closed session, you'll get all the answers to these questions, so let's wait for them, for that time. Okay, now I wanted to add an ordinance, that will be number 4. An ordinance to amend an ordinance entitled Records, ordinance number 621-92, adopted August 4, 1992, and as amended by ordinance number 1944-2020, adopted May 27, 2020, also known as Chapter 425, C of the Code of the City of Perth Amboy. I need a motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, so it's added. Okay, resolutions. R-23-124, authorizing a refund in the amount of $400 to Adrian Figueron, a tenant, for the return of his key deposit for 4 keys with the Perth Amboy Harborside Marina. R-24-124, authorizing submission of recycling tonnage grant application. R-25-124, governing body certification of compliance with the United States Equal Employment Opportunity Commission's enforcement guidance on the consideration of arrest and conviction records and employment decision under Title VII of the Civil Rights Act of 1964. R-26-124, authorizing settlement of 2 workers' compensation litigation via an order approving settlement in the amount entitled Domingo Cepeda versus City of Perth Amboy, CP number 2021-21647, in the total amount of $89,364.96. R-27-124, authorizing refund of an overpayment for a laundromat operation license in the amount of $10 to Martha Vargas and Angie's Laundromat, 430 Smith Street. R-28-124, authorizing and directing the city's planning consultant to determine whether all properties identified within Black 58, 59, 60, 61, 122, 123, 124, 125, and 126 on the city's tax map, which properties are bounded by Fayette Street, State Street, and Market Street, constitute an area in need of rehabilitation.
I have a question. What type of rehabilitation? What is this for?
So under the redevelopment law, there are 2 designations that are possible. It's a designation as an area in need of redevelopment, and then there's a designation as an area in need of rehabilitation. For the difference, and particularly with regard to rehabilitation, in a rehabilitation area, the city has no condemnation powers. It has no ability to offer a 30-year tax exemption, only a shorter 5-year tax abatement. Those are the highlights. Basically, what the rehabilitation designation allows for the city to rework the zoning for that area, to allow some of the properties to be rehabilitated rather than larger scale redevelopment that you would think of. And with the 5-year abatement that is available, that's usually for existing structures that do improvements on that property. It's not what you would think of a pilot with the bigger, the broader exemption, I should say. So rehabilitation, it's kind of a scaled down version that does allow the city to work through the existing zoning for the area and allow the existing property owners to rehab their properties.
And who's the city planning consultant that's going to make this determination?
I haven't decided yet. The planning board has to hire them. It's either going to be topology or CME.
Okay, so typology, we still work with typology, correct?
Yes.
And that's the one who had, their last director was doing the work from over 3,000 miles away for our community. But we still don't work with them, okay.
R-29-124, accepting an award from the New Jersey Historic Trust, State of the New Jersey, in the amount of $71,250. R-30-124, authorizing a contract with Fire and Safety Services Ltd. for a new Pierce Arrow XT ladder truck through the Houston Galveston Area Council Cooperative Purchasing System in the amount not to exceed the sum of $1,578,642.79. R-31, authorizing a contract with Motorola Solution, Inc. for replacement of body cams for the police department under New Jersey State Contract Number T0106, Law Enforcement Firearms, Equipment and Supplies in the amount not to exceed the sum of $860,262.
I have a tech question. There's been a couple of stories that came out recently that I had questions about to see if maybe, Chief, if you could answer them. One article came out recently about banned cameras that was sold to police departments throughout New Jersey. I was wondering if our department had purchased any of these cameras.
Are you speaking, good evening, I'm sorry. Are you speaking in reference to the body cams here, or are you talking about?
No, recently from Tamar Zachary, there was a big article, he was selling cameras to police departments in the state of New Jersey
Oh, yeah.
that was banned by the federal government.
Yes,
Did we purchase any of those cameras?
absolutely not. We knew better before that came out. About 2 years ago that came out, and we certainly were ensured that we did not. That was Packet Talk was the name of the company, and we had no business dealings with them whatsoever.
Okay, great, that's good to know. Another one is, another story that came out that I found interesting was about police training. And I was wondering if any of our cadets or officers had went to the police street cop training in the state of New Jersey.
Yes, there were 3 individuals that had attended that, some of them on their own.
So we had 3 individuals that attended that seminar that has been deemed to have been bias training.
There's a lot of things going on about that now. Yeah, that was back in 2020 when that occurred, right around COVID time is when that occurred. We identified the individual officers, and we retrained them accordingly.
So are we retraining those officers?
It's done already.
Okay, all right, thank
As soon
you.
as that came out, we were proactive. We got on top of that right away. It's on
How much did it cost us to retrain the officers?
They did it during their time of work, so it didn't cost us anything to retrain them.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. R32-124, authorizing the proper city officials to apply to the provision of state, community, and family court appropriations program to youth residing in Middlesex County grant, station, house adjustment counseling, community engagement program to provide services and innovative approaches for at-risk youth, proposal CC-23-906, in the amount of $49,500. R33-124, authorizing submission of an application to the New Jersey Department of Community Affairs for the 2024 recreation opportunity for individuals with disability grant in the amount of $20,000. R34-124, authorizing refund of tax overpayment tax sale certificate 23-00296 to Tower Lean LLC on Block 388, Lot 42, 794 Stephen Avenue in the amount of $1,968.07.
I just have one correction on this. The name is not Tower Lean. The name should read ProCap 8 First Trust Bank. So we'll make that correction on the actual resolution.
Thank you. R35-124, authorizing tax exempt, fully disabled veteran prorated refund to Carlos Aviles on Block 175, Lot 1, Qual C0306, 306 Holly Drive in the amount of $1,019.94. R36-124, authorizing refund of subsequent tax overpayment tax sale certificate 22-00172 in the amount of $416.88 on Block 159, Lot 7.02, 309 Lehigh Avenue to LNY New York, Inc. R37-124, determining the form and other details of $10,816,000 $1,000 general obligation bonds, Series 2024, consisting of $10,376,000 general improvement bonds and $440,000 parking utility bonds of the city of Perth Amboy and the county of Middlesex, New Jersey, and approving and providing for their sale. Chief? They told me you can speak about this? Please. That's number 37.
Yes, that's for the parking utility. It's $330,000 for Phase 3, and then 320, I believe, is in $110,000 for resurfacing of the parking lots.
Okay, so
That are-
that was the project that started a while
Yes,
back?
correct. We're doing it every year. This is the third and hopefully to be final phase of the project. This includes ADA ramps for the, where they're not now on Jefferson Street, and then any of the loose concrete and so forth. We have the consultant goes around, checks the area, and then any of those areas need to be redone. The speed ramps were done already through Phase 1 and 2, so this is the final cleanup of getting the rest of that stuff done to a part of a multi-year plan.
Thank
And then
you.
the resurfacing will be, we have, most of the lots need resurfacing. Some of them are very, very poor, and we're working with partners with Public Works to get those addressed and get them done.
Thank you very much. R38-124, authorizing refund of 14 handicap parking application in the total amount of $1,400 due to denial by the police department. R39-124, authorizing the Perth Amboy Board of Education to restore and provide upgrades to the Albert G. Walters Stadium.
Are we going to have an exhibit to show?
Yes, we do have the pictures to show there.
Well, I just need a little clarification. What does restore mean?
It's in the packet.
What's that?
The description of the project is in the packet.
Description, but restore, does that mean restore it to what it, way it looks, or replace it? No, I got that, I get it, I'm very well aware of this, Mr. Opal, considering this started back when I was on the Board of Education. So, restore, to me, would mean it has to look like to the one to the left.
The plan is to.
I've read the definition of what restore means, and all I'm trying to tell you is, if you're restoring something, you're restoring it to the way it looks.
The plan is to demolish the existing archway and build a new one in its place based on this rendering.
Yeah, but it says in the resolution, it says restore.
I think the intention of that is to replace, it's
Well,
gonna,
shouldn't it say replace then?
we can change it to say replace.
No, I just.
I drafted the resolution, it was a term of art that I used, so if you prefer another word, I can substitute that one in,
No,
but.
I think there's, I read the letter that the Historic Commission sent us. No, Mr. Ramos had reached out. So if anybody needs to talk about this, is there any open discussion for this?
There's multiple open discussions at the end of this
At the
caucus
end of
meeting
the-
and
All
then
right,
at
so,
the next meeting.
but I'm just saying that this has been going on from at least 2017. And the time that Bellotti, Madam President and I were vice president and president of the board, so we're very, very well aware what a hotbread issue this is. So we're open discussion for that.
Okay, that'll be at the end, when it's open to the public.
right.
So right now, I have two resolutions to add on to. So right now, we have the resolution authorizing emergency temporary appropriation to extend the calendar year 2024 temporary budget in the amount of $150,560. I need a motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
So that will be R40.
Yes.
And then we have the other resolution of the City of Perth Amboy County of Middlesex, New Jersey, authorizing an agreement with the Middlesex County to provide funds in the amount of $150,560 to the City of the Perth Amboy to be used for Cove Blue Warming Center services. I need a motion. Oh.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. So 41. We have the other resolution, which is the resolution of the City of Perth Amboy, County of Middlesex, New Jersey, to adopt the Perth Amboy Community Energy Plan, CEP, as part of the New Jersey Board of Public Utility CEP grant program. That was the presentation that we just had. I need a motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. That will be number 42. No, that's it. So, we have some communication. We also have the closed session resolution. This is R-22-124, authorizing a closed session at the January 24, 2024 meeting to discuss workers' compensation litigation, Domingo Cepeda versus City of Perth Amboy, and personnel. So now we're going to add, Mr. Opal, we're going to add the, yeah, the contract.
If the council wants, yeah, absolutely.
Yes, because I think there were a lot of questions, and I think you should be providing those. So we are adding also the negotiations of those particular places that we were mentioned before. I need a motion.
Second. Councilwoman Cruz? Yes. Councilwoman Morales? Yes. Councilman Puccio?
Yeah.
Councilman Torres?
Yes.
Council President Tejeda?
Yes. Public portion, 5 minutes maximum per speaker. I need a motion to open to the public.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Open to the public. State your name, your address, and you have 5 minutes.
Ken Ballard, 359 Brook Avenue. Here we go, my favorite person, Kushner. Donald Trump's son-in-law. Donald Trump, who's running for president, who every Democrat hates except for McCabe and McGreevy. You read his book, it's there. And we've been bending over backwards for McCabe, McGreevy, and Kushner. And now we're going to spend more money that we have a sitting firehouse and property over there doing nothing. He's got property there. It's supposed to have a sign that it's supposed to be cleaned up. The sign's so old that it's faded away. And nobody in code enforcement sees that when they drive around and see this stuff. Because code enforcement don't see anything. They don't see air conditioners in the houses and cables going up into attics. They don't see anything. It happens down the block all the time. So this is what we're going to have. So we're bending over because certain select people, McCabe, McGreevy, Kushner. Everybody loves them. Everybody hates them. I guess Democrats, I had the sign made up already. Which Democrats for Kushner? Because that's exactly what you're going to do. You're going to bend over backward for Kushner. Go in that building and take a look how garbage that building. I don't know how many of you have ever been in that building, but it's garbage. They built laundry rooms that weren't big enough. They cut people back on square footage that was supposed to be. Go out there and see the lights and everything. Garbage. But no, we're just going to let Kushner do whatever he wants, all because he's politically connected to certain people in Middlesex County. And nobody wants to touch him, and nobody got the cojones to do anything. It's sad. It really is sad. And now we're going to go out and spend money. And Councilman Puccio, you said a building $1 million? Are you kidding me? What do you think that building's going to cost? And now you're tossing out how much money that these people are going to say, oh, hey, if you're going to bond for 1.5, I want 1.5. And that's what's going to happen here. It's always a joke of what happens here. You guys are held in silence because nobody wants to tell anything. They want you to be deer in headlights when they come up here and say stuff, because you don't got anything. You're talking about a budget. We're February already. Where's the budget? So by the time you get the budget and pass it, you can't even cut anything out of it. And now you're talking 3 years down the line. So you have to start putting that money away now or doing something. And promises are band shelter. You see the band shelter? And who negotiated those contracts? A lawyer over a law firm over here. Pilots. Pilots. More pilots. Everybody wants a pilot. They got more flying hours than somebody from airlines, which they ain't doing really good these years anyway either. So what's going on here? It's really sad. We got employees. I mean, if that's not a truer picture of an employee doing something in public, then I believe he works senior citizen places. There's something wrong here. This is what goes on in this town and what we allow happen. Nobody does anything. That should be a total, complete ethics violation, and nothing happens to that employee. I don't know if any of you has read the arrest report and what they did, or seen the video of that. That's disgusting, and that's what we're projecting. It's gonna look good on a billboard and stuff like that. Anybody ever read this tax bill that we get? County tax, school tax, local municipal tax, county open space tax, and municipal library tax. Here, the county brags about making 100 units in 12 years. Well, they pay the county tax in this town, bought one of those units. You take 1,000 people with taxes, because we pay county tax, we could have bought every one of those units. So everybody said the county's doing a job. That's our money that's going there. How many of those units were in Perth Amboy? No, there's. So where is the money going? If you're bragging about 100 units in 12 years, really? This is what happens to our dollars. And then you put that flyer out that was messing everything, you paid $27,000. Did any of you get a look at that bill? Or did you go vote on it, $27 for the State of the City flyer? $27,000 you spent on that flyer. $27,000. Just like the $37,000 for furniture. It's
Thank
disgusting.
you. Anybody else?
I have a question about the flyer. Are we going to be receiving new flyers, updated ones, correct ones?
The new ones were sent, as a matter of fact, I believe each one of the council members were provided with the letter stating that that company was responsible, and they were going to send out the ones at no additional cost to the council or the taxpayers.
When are they going to send it out?
Was it, I believe it was sent out, let me get a, let me go.
Good evening, everyone. I'm sorry, what's the question? If the corrected version?
Yes, when it's going to be sent out?
It's anticipated to be mailed out by the print company by Monday or Tuesday.
By Monday or Tuesday?
Yes. So what they typically do, if anybody knows about the Every Door Direct Mail, it's a process where they take the printed copies physically to Kilmer in Edison, and then through their bulk mailing process, then they send out that way.
Are they going to be printing what's online, what we have online?
Yes, it's always been that. That's
Okay.
always been the corrected version.
Who did the last checkup on that, the one online? Who checked on that one?
The most recent one that's
Yeah.
on right now, it's me.
Okay, because I think my name is misspelled. Last,
It was corrected.
online?
Yes, it is.
Okay. Because
It
I know
has
it was,
been corrected for
I know it
quite
was
some time.
misspelled on the flyer, but it was also misspelled recently online, the last time I checked a couple of days ago also.
No, it's correct, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Oh, quite some time ago.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Thank you so much.
Thanks. Anybody else?
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Adele Topic, 341 Colfax Street. So I want to open up the subject with the towing ordinance, 425-. In past city council meetings, I've spoken about the application submitted by a company from Broadway Asking council to look at the package submitted by the police department and dissect it. I don't believe that company should be working for the town. First of all, they're way too far. They will never make it sound, and we have enough people as it is here. There's a lot of conflict of interest going on with that company, and as much as you believe that they're squeaky clean, I did an Oprah request and have tons of complaints from Carteret Police Department, Roy Police Department, and State Police against them. And I'll forward that to you, not to mention lawsuits from insurance companies against them. The second thing, there's a lot of language in the ordinance that has to be fixed or replaced. I would like to see a shift of power more towards council than it is in the hands of the police station. Lately, I've been finding myself targeted with a lot of things and complaints. I did an Oprah request and asked for complaints against my company, and they told me I have 10. It's funny because 7 of them I was the victim in. So I'm not sure what smoke and mirrors they're trying to give to you guys, but I want you to read it very well and understand that out of 7 complaints, out of 10 complaints, 7 I'm the victim. So I'm not sure if they're trying to be my cheerleaders or trying to be my enemies by forwarding this to the council to make me look bad and ruin my reputation. I will tell you, my company probably did the most tolls for the police department than anyone else. Private impounds, I did more than all of them put together. I did more than 2,000 cars this year. And for them to come up with 10 and 7 I'm the victim on, I think that's ridiculous and it's insane. So there's a lot of language has to be changed. And some things, it shouldn't be forwarded for me being a victim in it. It should be kept confidential. And I don't think they should have done that. With that being said, I would like to see a lot of language change in the ordinance. And it has to be amended to protect myself also. I've been doing police for Perth Amboy since 2005, and all of a sudden, this last couple of years, I'm like targeted like I won't believe. I mean, it doesn't seem right. Out of all the companies that are operating, I'm the only one that has the highest, and I could name things that are going on. Believe me, I'm not here to bash any other towing company, but there's a lot of things that have happened and no action was taken. I get 3, and they're making a recommendation to suspend me or to remove me. I think that's insane, and I want to see shift of power from the police department's hands to the council's hands, because you guys could read it and you can dissect it and you can make an intelligent determination rather than someone being targeted. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Anybody else?
Fernando Gatica, 133 Smith Street. I was here last September, asked about the parks. We had some back and forth emails with Mr. Greeny. I would like to speak with the DPW representative because nothing has been done to the parks. Last email I received says that some parts were being ordered to be replaced. I asked when was that going to be replaced. I was ignored in the email. Parks are dirty. Parks are not being fixed. So it's like, it's been 4 months. I mean, I'm not asking for a new park, but nothing has changed in 4 months. So it's like, you know, what are we doing here? And I would like to get some answers, please.
What park? What park?
All the parks, especially the park near your house, Columbus Park.
No, thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, Matthew
Good
Nieves,
evening.
Director of Public Works. I do remember the conversation and the emails. The parts were ordered, they're still not in. Once they come in, they're going to be scheduled to be put on top of some power washing at Columbus Park. So yes, we are aware. We made the order. It's not in yet. Once it comes in, we'll make the replacements prior to spring when the parks will be active again. Okay?
Do you have an estimated time? Have
I
they
couldn't-
given you an estimate?
Now, the last time that we ordered in bulk, we spent about $62,000, and it took an extensive amount of time for the equipment to come in. Once it did come in, we scheduled it, set it up. Took us a long time to get it completed, but at the end of the day, we took our time, got it done right, and it was completed. Every year, we do the same thing. We go through all the parks. We do multiple inspections with our insurance company. We also have an outside company that comes in and does it as well, on top of our supervisors. We select what parts are supposed to be exchanged. We make the order. Once the equipment comes in and the parts, we make the changes. It's not like, the parts are in and we're not doing it. Once they come in, we'll take care of it. We'll schedule all of it, all the parks that need it, and we'll get it done.
Thank you.
I know some of the photos included underneath the seats, am I correct, of the swings? For, I know
Your time is
you
up.
saw the email as well, back and forth.
Yes.
Okay.
No, we're aware of the park. Some of the stuff that was on the pictures was removed. Some of the stuff's gonna get repaired. There's stuff at Beebe Park, there's stuff at Caledonia Park. I can go on. A lot of the stuff has been either removed, replaced, the order's been, or the stuff is being ordered. Once the stuff comes in, we replace it. At Caledonia Park, we're actually been waiting for 2 benches. We removed them. We thought it was a safety concern. They're not there anymore. So if you guys, have any questions on that, we removed them for safety precautionary reasons. That was the reason why we removed them. Anything else?
Once the process starts, can you just keep us all in communication?
How would you like me to do that? Email?
Email.
Okay.
Through the emails with, and it's important to note, as he did mention, the resident, Matthew went out, but also 2 of them, Danny went out as well. And they were both looking at the areas in 2 and say they ordered the parts. So I hate to sound like President Biden, but I will say supply chain. That's one thing, we are waiting for those parts, but the parts that we could clean, we did, but we're waiting for those parts which Danny did order right away. And once they do, his people will go out there and install the parts. And we will do like we did. You saw, you were always carbon copied on the emails going back and forth. We'll continue to do that.
Once the parts are ordered, what is the time frame to expect them? Are they delayed behind, or?
What I could do.
What's
we
the reason
can
for taking
request
so long?
Supply and demand. It's anything and everything. We have vehicles that we've ordered 18 months ago, still waiting. There's nothing that we can do but just ask. Say, hey, what's the status? It's usually the same answer. Supply, demand. There's nothing that we can do. And a lot of this equipment that we purchase is game time. It has to be game time. We can't just go to another company and say, hey, I need this. It has to match. The actual equipment itself, the playground equipment is game time. So we have to buy game time equipment. We have some other parks there by Kaboom, except, but a lot of the parks are game time. So we have to wait for the items to come in for us to take care of the parks. Now, I do want to mention Columbus Park is also on the list, and where the basketball court, we do know it's not in the best shape. We're going to power wash it this year, and it is on the list to be repaired in the near future. We just got Rudy Park done. As you saw, it was one of the Kenny's projects. It looks amazing. We're moving forward with looking at all the other potential basketball courts that need to be repaired, and we're being proactive in getting those things done as well.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Anybody else?
Vince Macul, 215 Sheridan Street. I'd just like to refer to the communication for the rate increase by public service, electric and gas. 11% increase might not seem like much if you have the resources, but for the general public or somebody living paycheck to paycheck, $25 a month is significant. I think the council in Perth Amboy, as I believe you did concerning Elizabeth Gas and Electric, you provided a letter to the Board of Public Utilities. I think that it's important that the city represents the public that's affected by these rate increases. I went through some of the reasons, and I think there was at least a page or 2 on the nuclear industry continuing to subsidize the nuclear energy industry in the United States, which is in, I believe, South Jersey. I think that's, after all these years, I think several years ago, the state decided to give them several $100 million to satisfy the repairs or the recommendation that they have to get rid of some of this nuclear waste and where they're going to pay to get rid of it. So I think that, as well as the second reason, I think they use is climate change. They have to establish and repair some of the equipment post-Sandy based on that. But for the public in Perth Amboy, for instance, or any other town, to assume the responsibility that really is is a failure to establish new forms of energy in this country. I say this with a degree of emphasis. Moving forward, this country, if it's going to fight 3 wars, 2 in country and 1 in the border, it's not going to have enough money to spend on the things that we need here in Perth Amboy. Yes, 2 months ago, I sent a phone conversation to Representative Pallone saying, cease fire now for one of those wars. That's my conscience, and I am not irreligious by saying that. I am saying that God has all of us in mind, not just one country.
Thank you. Anybody else?
Catherine Maskos, 180 Market Street. And my first question is about R28. Why is the city studying this area? And my house is on block 60. And what is the dire need for rehabilitation in this area? What are your intentions? And I feel there's a lot of other areas in the city that are in a lot worse condition that need this rehabilitation, not this area. And the other question.
Okay. Take your time.
Okay, with R29, with the New Jersey Historic Trust, what are you doing with this money and where is it going and why? Okay. My question is, what is this being used for?
Okay,
Exactly.
so ask your questions, and then at the end, they will give you.
And the other thing I know is this arch. I would prefer it was a lot closer to what the old one should be. Can't you just restore what the old one looked like? Because that's what you should do. Okay, that's my question.
R29 is accepting an award from the New Jersey Historic Trust, State of New Jersey, as it's the resolution stating it's money that the city will receive for City Hall for a preservation plan for City Hall. And it's for a disaster preparedness plan as well as an assessment of the overall City Hall building. And that's grant funding that's being utilized rather than city tax dollar funds. I'm sorry.
You have to match it.
Yes, it's going to be $1 for every $3 provided.
Okay, and the other question?
The other question about the area of need of rehab. Can you
I
just-
think, Mr. Raffo.
You'll recall, I don't remember exactly when it was, I think it was April of last year.
I spoke then too.
You spoke then, your property was listed as an area in need of redevelopment, and it was approved of that. The idea now is to kind of scale that back a little bit. Obviously, as you're stating, the redevelopment powers are a little bit more broad and extensive than the rehabilitation powers. This is just simply, for various properties in that area. There's no condemnation, so the city's not going to utilize that. That's clear, but it provides a tool for the city to, make changes to the zoning in that area if it needs to.
Are you taking the property or not?
No,
You're not?
no,
No.
not even, not allowed to, not even a thought.
Okay. All right, and the third one, the arch?
The arch,
Okay.
that's in front of the council, that's going to be a policy decision. As the resolution states, there is an agreement between the city and the school board. And basically, for any work to be done, one of the requirements is that the council approve the work to be done. The restorative, action, the rendering was presented, it's in the council's packet. It's basically a decision on, whether the council will provide its consent for the school board to proceed with that rendering. I didn't draft the rendering, that's on the school board. They're basically requesting the council's consent to move forward with that, so.
And I can speak a little bit on that, because the last time that the historic board had a meeting. I remember Mr. George was present. Then after that, we kind of, because you were not happy with how the presentation was of that, what they were planning to do. We had a meeting with the Board of Education, part of the board members and the administration of the building. Mr. Michael George was there and, voicing the opinion that what happened in that particular meeting. And he kind of presented what the changes should have been to go along with what your board was explained in the meeting. So the whole design was kind of changed
Yeah, I know, I saw the old
to
one.
present that. So we thought everything was okay because we had that conversation. And there was also a conversation that some of the stones that can be rescued or used on it are going to be used, and that's what they came up with. So I'm not sure how we can go forward if every time that is accommodated to something, we have to go back and look at it again.
Well,
So,
I just wish it was closer to what the old one looked like. That's-
yeah. All right, thank you. Anybody else?
Michael George, 148 Rector Street, Perth Amboy. 3 years ago, could you put the drawing back up here? 3 years ago, I applied to the Board of Education, or I ran and got elected to the Board of Education for the sole purpose of making change in our town. I taught, worked, coached, and was a vice principal and a teacher here for 36 years. And I didn't move. I'm still here. But it appalls me that I have to go by Water Stadium and see those fences, those gates with barbed wire and screening all over them, so nobody can make an entrance. I've walked through those gates with my students, with my players, as a coach, and at graduation. Those gates are very, very important. Now, the drawing that you have before you was the first drawing that came out by our architect. And we had a meeting with the historical group, and we decided, they were totally against it. So I sat down, and I made a little drawing here, and that's the drawing that you, I believe, see above yourself here, okay? Now, this is a drawing that I made. Gave it to our architect, and every time we give him a drawing, we get charged. And the structural engineer, same thing. He looked at the stones and everything, and he said they can't be reused. They're in bad shape. So I said, well, you have to try to use some of them. So in this drawing here, okay, there's two things that I would like to take off. The red P and the red A. So they can be removed. Then it'll look more like this drawing. And on top of each gate, it says Perth and then Amboy. That can be removed. So the only thing that's here then is Albert G. Waters Stadium. That's it. That's the original. Here it's all stone. We have the bowed fences, all right, just like you have here, the original. So I think this is very, very important to us right now, because time is of the essence. If we don't get this done this June, our kids won't walk through that arch. There are many things to look at. We have to get permits. We have to put this out on bid if this is approved by you. We have to order materials. We have to demolish what's there now and then rebuild. Okay? I want this done by June. And it's up to you to approve this so that we can move ahead. Because as I said before, time is of the essence. It's very, very important that we get this done. We have a $300 million high school being built, and you're not paying a penny. The state is. It's the state-of-the-art high school. It has everything in the world in it. I toured the high school inside. I walked with the supervisor. It's unbelievable what you'll see in that building. And that's to be shared by the city. The auditorium, the gymnasiums for your meetings, all right, whatever you decide to do. But it's going to be the best school in the state.
Thank you very much. Anybody else?
Good evening. Melvin Ramos, 134 High Street. Can you keep that picture up, please? The arch that you're seeing on my left has been a symbol of Perth Amboy since 1937. I can't tell you how many graduating classes have walked through the center of that archway. All we're asking is that if they can come up with a design and a stone design that they have there, then that stone design can match what was there. They can build that. That's not a big problem. Right now, that does not represent Perth Amboy High School. And we have plenty of alumni that agree the same way. Mr. Puccio, you're an alumni. Madam President, you're an alumni. Ms. Cruz, you're an alumni as well. I don't know if you got to walk through those gates during graduation, but I did, and it was one of the proud moments that I had walking through that center gate. I don't know what the problem is, and with all due respect to Mr. George, I don't know what the problem is with just building what was there. That is not restoring. That is replacing. It's two different things. When you restore something, you put it back the way it was. Whether you have to take it all down again, and many historians do that with a lot of buildings, they take the building down and they start all over again, but they build the same thing. Why can't the Board of Ed come to that consensus that this is very important to all of the alumni here in the city of Perth Amboy? You know, you can't keep saying that this is a city of history and a city of future when you keep knocking down everything that is historic here in the city. The Historic Commission sent you a letter saying that they would want that. That was one of the things, that was a big landmark here in the city of Perth Amboy, that archway. Why can we not build it the way it was? If we can build the one on my right, then we can rebuild the image on the left. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Anybody else?
Elliot Espinal, 375 State Street. This is more awareness, because it seems like you guys are gonna purchase that property on High Street, but you guys are gonna pay 1.5 million, top dollar for that property. When I came before, and you own basically the whole block, that's a police station. The land behind it, I don't know. I just looked, the police station is still there. The other thing is still there. I don't even know what it is on the left side corner, and then the impound lot. I get why it's being done, because to me it seems, I don't know if you guys know who owns that property. Does anybody know?
The High Street property?
Yeah.
Yeah, we know.
Okay, who owns it?
Give me 1 second.
The church next door owns
Simpson
it.
Methodist Church?
Yes. And they pay 0 taxes. So I get why we would buy it, but Why not just let a developer take it, start paying taxes, and then use the 1.5 million to renovate or put towards the police station, make that the substation? It's nothing. I'll tell you what's gonna happen. We're gonna forget about that block, let it drop, let it lose its value, because right now real estate properties are top dollar. So we're gonna let it lose value, and then once we do the substation, then we'll give it to a developer for not the top dollar. That's my idea that is gonna happen. So why not put the 1.5 million or sell 1.5 million worth of property there, make that sacrifice and put it towards the substation across the block? So it's a bunch of like questions that I have that is 1.5 million. It's not, it doesn't make sense for us to go acquire that property when we have a whole block right across there's nothing there, an impound lot. The old fire station, I think it was, I grew up here, I was born here. The old fire station is nothing but, what do you say, like plants, like it hasn't been touched in years. So why not do, like, it doesn't make sense. Business-wise, it doesn't make sense at all.
Thank you. Anybody else?
Good evening, Council. My name is Isaiah Gomez. I reside on 494 Kakamali Avenue in the city.
I'm sorry, say your name?
Isaiah Gomez, 494 Kakamali Avenue.
Cromali?
Kakamali. So yeah, again, I rise on the matter of Resolution 39. So actually where I live is actually quite relevant in this. I live pretty close to Albert G. Waters Stadium. Growing up here in the city, for me, for a lot of my friends, that community space is something that we all hold fondly. I think even to this day, it's, especially in the summer, fall and spring months, it's a really vibrant community space that I think is really important to the city. So firstly, I want to say thank you to the council, as Board of Education, and everyone that's putting their thought and attention to improving that space. And I hear the concerns of the Historic Preservation Commission, as well as the councilman, and I understand that there is a lot of attachment to the structure that exists. However, again, as a resident that has lived there, like to be frank, I think that to move in the direction of restoring that space, I think you're approaching like really attached to Albert G. Waters Stadium in sort of a wrong way. I think that what is important is that community space and it being accessible and it being welcoming and it being something that we can be proud of. And I think as it exists now, and to simply restore it to that, I think we're missing an opportunity to improve the space. I know we may have mixed feelings about the new high school being built, but as a young person here who I look to stay in the city, I love this city. I hope to someday raise my own family here in this city. Having that space of that new high school is extremely exciting. I live very near to it, it's within walking distance. And it's something that was being built being worked on since I was younger. It was my generation. I graduated class of 2019. I was told that I would be one of the classes that would attend that high school, and for whatever reasons, it didn't develop. So to see it being developed now is great, and I think that if we develop the Albert G. Waters Stadium to be more in line with these more modernized spaces, I think it's better for the advancement of the community. And again, also, I just think that perhaps, and this is just my suggestion as a constituent here in the city, I think that perhaps a way to address this matter is maybe just open it up to the public. After all, it's not just a Perth Amboy High School space, it is a city space. and is enjoyed by many residents here in the city. And I think if we approach it as how can we make this the most vibrant and accessible space possible, rather than just focusing on what was there. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? Huh?
I just have
Mr. George?
I know, I'm only allowed 5 minutes. I think I only used 4. Okay? I just, with respect to Mr. Ramos and Catherine, I just want to say that the drawings that you saw up here, okay, if this is not passed tonight, then you're going to have probably the Historical Society rebuild that front face. Because we're under a timetable right now.
Thank you very
With the Board of
much.
Education, and it's very, very important.
Thank you.
Okay? Thank you so much for your time.
Anybody else? Seeing none, I need a motion to,
I'd like to clarify one thing. I'm just looking at the city's website right now, and I hope that when the mailers go out on Monday, that it does have my correct name spelling. Okay, because right now, on the site, it's still misspelled. Okay, my name is misspelled. My name is Bienvenido, Bienvenido. Right here, I'm looking at it currently on the site, and it's B-E-N. My name is Bien, B-I-E-N. So, okay, thank you very much, because it seems that we spent a lot of money. There was a lot of controversy with the first mailer, and it seems that there's still some mistakes.
okay.
Okay, so the
Okay.
vendor made a mistake, but there's still errors on it. Thank you.
Thank you. I need a motion to close public session.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I need a motion to go to closed session.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, we'll be going to closed session, and then when we come back, we'll start the meeting. Thank you. I need a motion to come back from closed session.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. I need a motion to adjourn the caucus meeting.
Move.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Now we're going to start the meeting. This is the council meeting for January 24, 2024. Presiding officer of the council, Milady Tejeda, wishes to advise the audience that notice of this meeting has been filed with the Home News Tribune, the Star Ledger, and posted on the bulletin board in the city's clerk's office and on the city's website, indicating that today's meeting is being held on the council chambers, City Hall, 260 High Street, right after the caucus and closed session. Council President Tejeda, as a courtesy of the governing body, I will ask all individuals present, including members of the audience, to please turn off all cell phones and electronic devices. Should you need to make a telephone call, please go out into the hallway and speak in a low voice so as not to disturb the ongoing meeting. Roll call, please.
Councilwoman Cruz?
Present.
Councilwoman Morales? Present. Councilman Puccio?
Here.
Councilman Torres?
Present.
Council President Tejeda?
Present. Okay, let's stand for the invocation. Dear Lord, please watch over this governing body, watch over our city, watch over our nation. Provide us with the wisdom to do the right thing for our citizen and for our city. Also protect all our troops away from home and also the ones that are here defending our freedom and also their families. Please keep them safe. Also, I want to pray for those with mental health issues. Please, God, protect us, provide the health cares with the right tools to help our citizens who are going through depression and all kinds of mental illness. And with that, I say amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Ordinance, public hearing, 5 minutes maximum per speaker per ordinance. Number one, an ordinance to amend an ordinance entitled, an ordinance designating restricted parking space for use by handicapped persons, ordinance number 380-85, an amendment adopted July 2nd, 1985, also known as Chapter 255 of the Code of the City of Perth Amboy, and this is about deletion. I need a motion to open to the public.
Move.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
It's open to the public. Anybody wants to speak on this? Seeing none, I need a motion to close.
Move.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, I need a motion to adopt.
Move.
Second.
Councilwoman Cruz?
Yes.
Councilwoman Morales?
Yes.
Councilman Puccio?
Yes.
Councilman Torres?
Yes.
Council President Tejeda?
Yes. Number two, an ordinance to amend and supplement Chapter 199, dogs of the Code of the City of Perth Amboy to include additional regulation related to the public park. I need a motion to open to the public.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
It's open to the public. Anybody who wants to speak on the ordinance? Seeing none, I need a motion to close the public
Move.
hearing.
Move.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I need a motion to adopt.
Move.
Second.
Roll-
Councilwoman Cruz?
Yes.
Councilwoman Morales?
Yes.
Councilman Puccio?
Yes.
Councilman Torres?
Yes.
Council President Tejeda?
Yes. Number three, an ordinance of the City of Perth Amboy, County of Middlesex, New Jersey, to amend and supplement Chapter 4, Administration of Government of the Code of the City of Perth Amboy to include additional regulation to safeguard public property and public records. I need a motion to
Move.
open to the public.
Move.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
It's open to the public. Anybody who wants to speak on this? Seeing none, I need a motion to close public hearing.
Move. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I need a motion to adopt.
Move.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Councilwoman Cruz?
Yes.
Councilwoman Morales?
Yes.
Councilman Puccio?
Yes.
Councilman Torres?
Yes.
Council President Tejeda?
Yes. Number 4, an ordinance to amend and reinstate an ordinance creating a special improvement district within the city of Perth Amboy and designating a district management corporation, ordinance number 776-95, and amended, adopted July 17, 1995, also known as Chapter 381C of the Code of the City of Perth Amboy. I need a motion to open to the public.
Move.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Open to the public, whoever wants to speak on this ordinance. Seeing none, I need a motion to close.
Move.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I need a motion to adopt.
Move.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Councilwoman Cruz?
Yes.
Councilwoman Morales?
Yes.
Councilman Puccio?
Yes.
Councilman Torres?
No.
Council President Tejeda?
Yes. Agenda, public comment. Citizen may address the council on any matter on the agenda which does not have its own scheduled public hearing. Citizens shall be permitted to speak once for a maximum of 5 minutes. I need a motion to open to the public.
Move.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, I need, anybody who wants to speak on any agenda item? Seeing none, I need a motion to close public.
Move.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Reports. Following Barczewski tax collector submitted the monthly report of collection for the month of December 2023. Number 2, Jill A. Goldie, CFO Controller, submitted the following: check register report for the month of December 2023 in the total amount of $11,438,078.51. 2023 annual debt statement. Ordinance, first reading, no public discussion. Number 1, an ordinance to amend an ordinance entitled, an ordinance designating restricted parking spaces for use by handicapped persons, ordinance number 380-85, and amendments, adopted July 2nd, 1985, also known as Chapter 255C of the Code of the City of Perth Amboy. And this is about deletion. I need a motion.
Move.
Second. Councilwoman Cruz?
Yes.
Councilwoman Morales?
Yes.
Councilman Puccio?
Yes.
Councilman Torres?
Yes.
Council President Tejeda?
Yes. Number 2, an ordinance to amend an ordinance entitled Administration of Government, ordinance number 1-72, and amendments, adopted July 28, 1972, also known as Chapter 4 of the Code of the City of Perth Amboy, and this is about harborside marina utility improper docking. I need a motion.
Move.
Second. Councilwoman Cruz?
Yes.
Councilwoman Morales?
Yes.
Councilman Puccio?
Yes.
Councilman Torres?
Yes.
Council President Tejeda?
Yes. Number 3, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Perth Amboy, County of Middlesex, New Jersey, authorizing the acquisition of the property designated on the tax map of the City of Perth Amboy as Block 127, lots 16, 17, and 18, commonly known as 333-341 High Street for public purposes pursuant to NJSA 40A, column 12-5, and NJSA 20, column 3.3-1. I need a motion.
Move.
Second. Councilwoman Cruz?
Yes.
Councilwoman Morales?
Yes.
Councilman Puccio?
Yes.
Councilman Torres?
Yes.
Council President Tejeda?
Yes. Number 4, it was the added one tonight. An ordinance to amend an ordinance entitled Wreckers, ordinance number 621-92, adopted August 4, 1992, as amended by ordinance number 1944-2020, adopted May 27, 2020, also known as the Chapter 425C of the Code of the City of Perth Amboy. I need a motion.
Move.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Councilwoman Cruz?
Yes.
Councilwoman Morales?
Yes, I just have a question about this. Is there a possibility, Mr. Opal, if we can cap the number of towing companies, specifically maybe the police?
Say that again, I'm sorry.
If we can cap?
I've advised before on various things, the caps, unless there's a rational basis behind them, I don't really advise in favor of them. The way the ordinance is written now, it kind of leaves that discretion to the rules that are made by the police department. So, I mean, there's an application process, there's, recommendations that are made to the council as far as the contracts that are awarded and, the rotation list that results from the contracts that are awarded. So capping in general, I don't know, but I think by, through the application process, through the rules that the police department puts forth pursuant to this ordinance, I think, there's a way for the city and for the police department to have oversight of all of the applicants and ultimate, contractors for the city, so.
Madam President, may I? I understand that. I mean, again, referring to being around forever, there was a point in time where the city had 7 wreckers, 7 tow companies, right? So that was each day of the week. Now, I know right now there's 11 with the possibility of being 12, which, nobody's explained to us what's the reasoning behind having 12 as opposed to 11 or 10 or even 8. So, I mean, the tow companies that we have now, we have 2 heavy-duty tows. Scott's Towing and All Car have the heavy-duty equipment. Even I think King High has a big heavy-duty truck too. And then we have the local towers, and then we have out-of-town towers. So, and it's always been my position that the out-of-town towers, they're in, so you can't say, no, you can't come here. You're in already. But, I know there's gonna be a recommendation in the future here to recommend another, making it number 12, and it's gonna be another out-of-towner. So, I know there's gonna be some effort to make an explanation why we need 12, because, and the police department has their own flatbed and they have their own wreckers. So I don't understand what's the purpose here. Sorry,
From
sorry,
a
Madam
policy
President.
perspective, I can let the chief address that.
Okay.
Good evening again.
Good evening.
On those numbers, we have 10 currently. There were 11 that applied. Okay, as far as recommendations, I'm not sure where that came from, but everything was produced to the council. I don't know if you have it yet or not, but all of the information about all of the towers that have applied for it this time through was provided for council and so forth to go through. In there was all of anything that we've had on them, any history that we've had with them for the past year, and some additional outlines. One of the things was the time frame of a response time. So again, no one necessarily was recommended. It was just as the council, as the ordinance allows, was just put in your hands for you to make the decision as to who that is. So on our side of things, it doesn't matter to me whether it's 1, 10, 20, doesn't matter. We're all going to hold them to the same level and so forth. So that's completely up to you. Again, we have 10 now. There was an 11th
Oh,
that
so
has
that
put
would
in.
be 11, not 12.
Correct. Yes, there was 10. For a number of years, it's been 10. And then we just process the applications that we get from the clerk's office. So, and give you the information so that you can make an educated decision.
I mean, I've read all the letters, and the one in regards to the maybe future company, and, whoever wrote the letter, which I believe is Sergeant Medina, right? He puts in that letter that, there's an issue with the time.
Yes, sir.
And so I have 2 problems with that. I have the issue with the time, and I have the issue with us adding another out-of-town record. Because what would be the need? Somebody could apply. I get that, Chief, and this is just a general thing now. Somebody could apply. So if 15 companies applied, and forwarded to 15. So what we're saying here is that the council has the final say on who's picked?
That's the way that I understand it. We
that
provide,
true?
we look at it for compliance.
And then it'll come across our,
To us, and then we decide.
Yeah, we get it for compliance, just to make sure that the trucks are right. We inspect them, we do all that, and then we lay it at your feet to make the decisions.
Yeah, because, well, we're not deciding on the list today, it's not on the agenda. I just brought it up since we were talking about it.
Right. So sorry, excuse me.
No, go ahead.
I'm just curious, so if we're the ones deciding who's gonna be the tow companies, do we decide whether it's gonna be 7 or 11 or 10?
Or
Is that up
15.
to us?
Or 15.
Well, that's, I would think, and, you know, the recommendation, or not, I shouldn't say the recommendation, the reviews will be provided to you, and it's ultimately in your discretion. My advice with regard to capping is not to put a specific number in the ordinance, because you never know.
Right.
What could change. I think it's based on your experience with hearing from residents and their experience with the tow companies, you know, the information that you receive from the police department, all that should be considered the next time this comes in front of you. And then you make the decision on what that list looks like for the upcoming year.
But we could amend.
We could
to-
amend.
As far as like, for instance, if an out-of-town company, was applying, we could put it in our ordinance, where you could come here, but you're gonna need a yard in Perth Amboy. Can you do that?
The way the amendments read is that, you know, preference is given to companies, and that was one.
Inside.
With a facility in the city. It's not a complete bar on outside. I recommended against that as well, to completely bar them. But I think it goes to your discretion. I don't recommend putting requirements in legislation for caps to ban, outside of Perth Amboy companies, just because they're blanket and they're subject to, I think, a challenge from an out-of-town company that can possibly claim that they operate here, they get here on time, they do good work. And what do we have to support the fact that we're capping it or not allowing out of town? That's why I think these have to be reviewed annually on a case-by-case basis, rather than putting the strict language in there, give you the power, so that when you review these, you can look at the information that's available to you, and then make the decision on who to, put on the list. And then, that's your decision, that's based on the information that you have, and that would withstand the challenge, in my opinion.
Well,
Or better
so
withstand
the
the challenge.
timeframe thing in the ordinance, for instance, if we didn't have something like that in the ordinance, somebody, one of the big tow companies up in Elizabeth could decide to apply, and, they would come here. And then,
But it's also up to us.
Right.
Because it will come to us.
Right. So, but I just want to make it clear, so if we do have 11 applicants, and we just choose to have 7, is that okay?
If that's based on your review of the applications, and you think that you can only recommend and support 7 of the companies, that's fine. I would defer to the chief if that meets the operational needs of the city, if 7 would do it, but there's a rotating
Well,
list,
I'm
so
just throwing out
imagining
some
it would
numbers,
just-
but,
yeah.
Yeah, so it would just be the
Do we-
rotational list would
Yeah.
just change. It would be
Yeah.
beyond
like if we
once
get
or seven.
15 applicants and we choose 10 out of the 15, we don't have to accept all 15.
No, it's within your
Right.
discretion in the ordinance. how
Okay.
many to approve.
and I mean, you have to have an
And-
overlap, so, having 7 isn't probably feasible.
Okay,
You would have to have a couple extra.
right. So I just wanted to make,
And the other thing is, you do need the tow companies that have the heavy tows. You need them. You have a tractor trailer that breaks down in the middle of Smith Street, you need somebody with a big tow truck to get it out of there.
Yes.
now, in the future, could we also amend the ordinance to state somehow that if we should monitor and request some type of reports if they have a lot of complaints from these out-of-town companies, and then it's being done now, isn't it?
That's correct. Any tow complaints are forwarded to our traffic bureau. They look into them and they do whatever that would be. In some instances, was sent to you for adjudication a couple months back. In other instances, it would be, if it was violation of the city ordinance, then it would be city ordinance summonses that would be issued, and then once those are adjudicated in court, then that would be reported to you, similar like to the taverns. Let's say
Right.
when taverns would get a loud music complaint, then we'd go, and once it goes through court, then it comes to you and as the ABC board saying, hey, listen, this X company received these summonses, they were found guilty, and, then whatever remedy was available to you in the ordinance to do.
I would like to make it more specific as far as like a resident complaining that they have to go this far to go retrieve their car from Broadway, let's say a towing company was from Broadway. It's far. If we have complaints from those kind of residents in the city, and like, how do we keep track of that? They would file that report.
Well,
Police department,
in that case, it really wouldn't be a report because it's not violating anything. It would be that the
Just a
council
complaint.
allowed them to be a tow company, a recognized tow company in Perth Amboy, and they're doing their job and they're taking it there. I think a little bit to Councilman Puccio's point of potentially requiring a yard
a
in
yard in
town.
town, okay?
That may be one thing, because I know that this did come up a number of years ago where, subject of litigation for, I think caps were in there, as well as out-of-towners were barred just because you were out of town. And I think, and again, I'm not sure, but I believe it came to the point where you could have your business anywhere, but you may be able to restrict where that tow yard is. I don't know for sure. I would, refer to council on that.
I'm with mandating them to have some, a yard somewhere in town. That way, the residents will, be easy for the residents to retrieve their cars.
Sure, because it is certainly a burden to go anywhere, out of town. And now, actually, we have another one that just moved out of town also that was in town. So I think that would, at presently, 4 of the 10 are out of towners.
Any more questions?
No, I'm good, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It's your vote.
Oh. Yes.
Councilman Puccio?
Yes.
Councilman Torres?
Yes.
Council President Tejeda?
Yes. Okay, so now let's look through the resolutions and let's pull
The
whatever.
last, 39.
Okay, remember that we have number 40, 41, and 42. Also, the resolution that were added at the caucus. Okay, anything? I think
Just 39.
39, you said?
Yeah.
26 and 28.
26. 28. And then
That was 39, Councilman Puccio?
39, yes.
39. Okay. Anything else?
No.
You're good?
No, what was that again, what numbers?
Okay.
26,
26, 28, and 39.
Thank you.
Okay, so the consent agenda is R23 through R25, R27, R29 through R38, and then R40 through R42. I need a motion to.
Move.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Councilman Cruz?
Yes.
Councilwoman Cruz, I'm sorry. Councilwoman Morales?
Yes.
It's late.
It's late. And Councilman Puccio?
Yes.
Councilman Torres?
Yes.
Council President Tejeda?
Yes. R26, authorizing settlement of 2 workers' compensation litigation via an order approving settlement in the matter entitled Domingo Cepeda versus City of Perth Amboy, CP number 2021-21647, in the total amount of $89,364.96. I need a motion.
Move.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Councilwoman Cruz?
Yes.
Councilwoman Morales?
Yes.
Councilman Puccio?
Yes.
Councilman Torres?
No.
Council President Tejeda?
Yes. R28, authorizing and directing the city's planning consultant to determine whether all properties identified within Block 58, 59, 60, 61, 122, 123, 124, 125, and 126 on the city's tax map, which properties are bounded by Fayette Street, State Street, and Market Street, constitute an area in need of rehabilitation. I need a motion.
Move.
Second.
Roll call.
Councilwoman Cruz?
Yes.
Councilwoman Morales? Yes. Councilman Puccio?
Yes.
Councilman Torres?
No.
Council President Tejeda?
Yes. R39, authorizing the Perth Amboy Board of Education to restore and provide upgrades to the Albert G. Waters Stadium. I think we're gonna do some amendment to the.
We were taking the P and the P and the A out, dropping the top to make it even, so it's more in line to what's there in the original thing. And they were utilizing the stone that they could use to restore the arch.
And we're also removing Perth Amboy.
Oh, right, the P and the A, and the P and the A. And a reference to the Historical Commission, and I have to get this right, Catherine, is your father Anton Massapus II? So, and putting a small plaque in honor of Anton Massapus II and Leroy Nang. Small markers,
Did you say drop the top?
drop the top. So
So-
that is pretty much 99% of the replica of what's there now.
All right, so I need a motion to move the resolution with the amendment that was just mentioned.
Move it.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Councilwoman Cruz?
Yes.
Councilwoman Morales? Yes. Councilman Puccio?
Yes.
Councilman Torres?
Yes.
Council President Tejeda?
Yes. Okay.
Oh, wait.
I'm sorry. What?
We said take the Perth Amboy out. too,
Yes.
right? Oh, okay.
Yeah, you said that. Okay, okay, I need a motion to open to the public, 5 minutes maximum per speaker. Need a motion?
Move it.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
Del Topic, 321 Colfax Street. So in reference back to ordinance 425, I just want to remind you guys that you are the governing body. You could put any ordinance in place, you could put whatever you want to cap or implement or delete any ordinance that's existing, regardless of the application process by the police department. So you guys have the power. You guys are the governing body, no one else. The question in hand with the out-of-town companies when they sued, because they were terminated in the middle of a contract. It wasn't up for renewal, so that's a whole different subject. But I would recommend that, even though Mr. Opal may oppose to it, that you guys put a number in place, only because it would not open doors for the future for 20 or 30 or 40 more people to apply. And as always, preference would be to ones that are already pre-existing, and obviously to the in-towners first. And yeah, we do have 4 out-of-towners with 6 in towns, and we do have 4 companies actually with heavies. So I don't see the need of another one that's even from a further point from Carteret. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Anybody else? Chief?
I just want to correct a misstatement if I can. As far as out-of-towners, I think it was 4, and I think Adele thought the same thing, but to my knowledge, it's 3 currently out-of-towners.
Okay.
One that recently moved out. We had 2, and then one that was in town
And
moved
one
out.
applying.
So we have 3, not 4 currently. I stated 4, so I want to just clear the record.
Well, what would King High be considered?
He moved out of town.
Right, because he's over across from All Car.
Correct. I mean, it's public knowledge. Obviously, it's All Car Towing, Scott's, and now King High. Those 3 companies are out-of-towners.
Thank you.
All right.
Mr. Iris Rodriguez, 335 Fayette Street. I don't know if it's appropriate, but I just heard that there is a towing company that's going to be allowed here in Perth Amboy from Carteret, that's located on Menu Street over there.
Not yet.
Yeah?
Hasn't
Not
come
yet.
across our.
Okay, I just want to say something. Just recently, and maybe it's personal, but I just want to bring it out. My daughter had an accident on the Parkway, and they towed the car there. She went there the next day to try to get my great-grandson's, it was my granddaughter, I'm sorry, my great-grandson's carriage, and the son of a gun wouldn't let her unless she paid for the towing that he had incurred because she did not have full coverage. I would strongly recommend that you look into whatever complaints that company may have, because from what I understand, and I did look them up on the website, they're not too well liked, okay? So I just would like that noted for the record, and I'm sorry if it's personal, but for me, it's hurting my granddaughter. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? Seeing none, I need a motion to close public portion.
Move.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, council comments?
Good evening.
Councilwoman Cruz?
Good evening, everyone, and congratulations to all the officers who were sworn in. We're super excited. And then it was a great conversation as well on applications of towing. We do have to be mindful and really look into it. And just for the records, it hasn't come across our paperwork, but we have been notified and we will look into it. And we do have all the applicants as well. And thank you all for your input on the arch. And I do look forward to see what's to come for Perth Amboy with the new high school, which is super, super exciting. And to finally get our current high school up and running again. So that way, once that's complete, we can have that arch open for residents and students. Thank you and have a great night.
Councilwoman Morales?
Don't have too much to say. Just want to say thank you for everyone that was, here tonight. And also to congratulate the 14 officers that were sworn in last week. I was very honored to have been there. It was a historical moment for the police department, as this is the most, I believe, that we've had in the police department with the officers, and I think there's more to come, which is great. And also, I also came to the swearing in for our fighter, Mr. Jonathan Rodriguez. He was sworn in yesterday, which was a special swearing in because he got deployed today, actually. And I do thank him for his service for both here for the city and for us in the country. And we just pray for him to be safe and return to his family and his Perth Amboy family over here in the fire department. And that's pretty much it. Thank you again, and have a good evening until next meeting.
Councilman Puccio?
I'm actually talked out, so I just want to wish everybody a good night. Thank you, Chief Mullen, for explaining the stuff that you did tonight about the new firehouse. And that's about it for me.
Okay, Councilman?
No comment for this evening.
Okay. I just want to thank everybody who participated tonight. Congratulations to all the officers that got sworn in. And also, I just want to make an announcement because we were planning to have interviews for people who apply for different boards for the next meeting, which happens to be Valentine's Day, and we figure we'll change it.
Yeah.
Because people do make plans for that day. So we'll have it instead of next meeting, but the following meeting, we'll have the interviews. So our clerk will send the letter to come to present to the council. And I just want to say thank you for participating and have a good night. Thank you. I need a motion to adjourn.
Move.
Second.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
9:15.